In the back of the book segment tonight, a new study published in the Journal of the American Medical Association says that the number of Americans taking antidepressants has doubled in the 1990s, and those were boom years economically. Joining us now from Washington is Dr. Peter Breggin, the director of the Center for the Study of Psychiatry and Psychology, and the author of the book, The Anti-Depression Fact Book. Okay, doctor. Now, is this a racket, this antidepressant thing?
Well, I think in many ways, unfortunately, it is. You know, we have this huge advertising campaign going on to sell depression to the American public. We have Prozac and Paxil and all of these drugs advertising. The government does campaigns. Depression Awareness Week, that's a selling campaign. And the managed care companies would like us not to be doing counseling. They would like exactly what's happening, a shift to using drugs more and more, and even to having more GPs and family docs giving out. All right, so
you're saying that might be psychosomatic, that all this advertising might be convincing people they're depressed. Tell me about these drugs.
Well, the people are sad, Bill. People get sad and people get unhappy.
Sure, but that's just life. That's life. Everybody gets depressed. But tell me about these drugs. I've never taken a drug in my life. It's against my code. I'm not going to take any drugs. Right. I don't care how depressed my job makes me or anything else. I'm not taking them. Prozac. What is Prozac? If I take Prozac tonight, what's going to happen to me?
Well, it's very unpredictable. It's going to take your brain, which is in a normal biochemical imbalance, and make it very abnormal. It's going to jack up one of the neurotransmitter systems called serotonin. The effects can be rather rapid, the bad effects, which a lot of doctors don't know, and you could very quickly develop anxiety or some agitation. You could have a feeling that your body is
But why do so many people like this drug? Doesn't it make them feel good?
Eventually, over a period of weeks, the drug will sometimes make people emotionally numb. It'll sometimes make them feel artificially better. But it isn't going to get to the heart of what depression's about, which is it's a human experience that has reasons behind it.
All right, I got you. But what you're pushing is you want people to come in and get counseled at $150 an hour.
No, not necessarily. You know, even therapy is in many ways questionable because it depends so much on
I know a lot of charlatan therapists. But let's stay on the drugs for a moment. But now, there are other drugs. There's one other drug, and I forget the name of it. I should know. A lot of people take it.
Well, Paxil, Prozac, Zoloft, Celexa, Luvox.
Yeah, don't these make you high and kind of float around a little bit?
They can, for some people, make them euphoric. But worse than that, Bill, they can make them manic or depressed. I just have finished with a case that was resolved of a man who got so out of control that he drowned his 2 children and himself in a bathtub.
Doc,
very much like Andrea Yates.
If 6.3 million people, Americans, are taking antidepressants right now, 6.3 million Americans are taking them. These drugs got to be attractive to these people. They got to make them feel better, no?
Well, not necessarily. Probably half or more stop after the first prescription that they get because they have so many adverse effects. Other people take them and you talk to them and they say that they think maybe they're better, but they're not sure. The doctor says they have to be on them. There's so much hype. And depression responds to any kind of hope or encouragement. Because, Bill, think of what is depression. It's hopelessness. It's despair. So you're taking a medication. You're hoping it's doing better. But if you look at the real studies, it's hardly any better than a sugar pill and much more dangerous. The science isn't
as we said at the beginning of this interview, everybody gets depressed. Part of life. Part of the life cycle, all right?
Yes.
How do you know when you have a medical problem?
Well, I differ from the central position in psychiatry right now, but I don't think it should be viewed as a medical problem. Now, if you're suicidal and you want to die and you can't get out of bed, you have a very serious emotional, spiritual crisis going on that could be handled in many ways that I think are better than adding a problem to your brain. There's religion, there's spiritual counseling, there's psychological, there's family, there's finding a new way, a new meaning in life. It's really about life, and we are changing it into something about biochemistry without having the scientific basis for that.
Okay, but there are many, many people in this country that have depression, and it is an illness.
Yes.
I mean, Mike Wallace talked about it. And apparently he took drugs that's kind of leveled him out, and he was able to, you know, have a terrific career and continue to do what he does. So how do you know when yours is a legitimate illness or yours is just,
well,
you know,
Bill,
an instability that you can deal with, as you said, in a spiritual way or another way?
I think it's in the eye of the beholder and of the prescriber. Simply because somebody becomes especially unhappy or despairing doesn't mean it becomes an illness. Bill, there's something else I need to add, which is stopping these drugs is dangerous too. So I don't want people in your audience running out and stopping them. I've seen a number of cases where people have stopped the new drugs abruptly, like Paxil. They've gotten violent, they've gotten agitated. So I don't want people running out and abruptly stopping.
I just think it's one of the most complicated conditions that a person can have, because it's a subjective condition.
It is absolutely a subjective condition. It's the only thing we know about it.
A lot of these drugs make you feel good and all of that. All right, doctor, thanks for your expertise. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Next, we'll wrap things up. The most ridiculous item of the day and some of your mail.